Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day. I just wanted to take a little bit of time to give some encouraging words out to anybody for whoever wants them. I'm not a part of any association or organization or Patreon or anything like that I know of. So just follow along if this is for you. I am who I am. I am sent me. I am life, and in me is no darkness or death at all. I am not the terms and conditions of this world and or the teachings that this world have once gathered. I am clarity and light, and who I am follows. I am faithful to the Ten Commandments so that I am not consumed by fire. When I say that, I am not talking about literal fire. I am talking about the fire that does not consume. This is a spiritual ideology for something that's on the inside. I am happy to help others because before I might have been upset and or angry, but I am not anger. I am peace and love and mercy. I am salvation and forgiveness. I am there for who I am and others too. Or if I need a little bit of courage, I am therefore I am and others too. And so when I begin to slow down and understand and research some of the things from before, I can open up and understand the world around me. I can begin to season the who I am, the seasoning, and who I am can be seasoned properly when I am baptized with the right words. A lot of times I tell people about the Ten Commandments a lot because the idea is that what people have done is that they have taken the names of their pagan gods and belief systems and ideas and they put different names on the Ten Commandments, what I like to call source code, so to speak. And when I say source code, I just want you to understand the nature of existence. And so the phrase I am means something. It means I exist. It means something is. It is the action of doing and being. And so a lot of times what's happening is there are images or ideas being created and unaware, since I am following the world's teachings, especially from youth, what ends up happening is I am constricted into a cage unaware without noticing because I believe that's what's right for me because my parents and forefathers and everybody else does these things. But one day I left my parents' house. This is a spiritual ideology. And then I began to learn the world for myself, for who I am. And what I began to notice is that the very things that people fear, the very things that I fear, can lead me to do wild and silly things if I am not careful, because that manipulation of fear leads me to do what I believe is right versus who I am with clarity and guidance leading me to do what's right. And so when I bring up the Ten Commandments, a lot of times those seven laws outside the first three is the completion. You'll notice in the Bible there are three major spots. You have the beginning with the spirit that hovers, which I call the first three commandments. I am who I am sent me. You shall have no other gods before who I am. You shall have no idols under the earth and sea and the heavens. You shall not bow down to them or worship them, for I am jealous like a husband for its wife, a strong jealousy. Thou shalt not take my name in vain. Thou shalt not take who I am in vain. I hold the parents. Um, I shall not hold him guiltless. The sins of the parents affect the children, because then whatever the parents are worshiping and doing leak down to the children in spirit and in ideology. And then what ends up happening is people become manipulated by idols that they were told not to even worship. And so I'll give you an example. Let's say a person comes up to me and starts talking about hell. Whatever image that they have of that hell that's created in their mind is in their mind. That same image is waiting, causing, delivering subtle cues and information to go do things, to be manipulated by the fear of avoiding that image that was created. So I'm going to show you something. I am, and all other things was created by who we are, humans. There is no problem with me going to learn things, but those things are for who I am, so I can build and grow like a flower in the field. Because a flower is beautiful, but if you're not careful and go read Solomon, he will put eternity into the heart. The reason why I warn against Peter and Paul and Noah and Aaron is because you guys are reading the Lord God, but what you're failing to realize is the name is I am. So each of those men put the fear and dread of who they were into other men, making them Nephilim that walked those men's imaginations and manifested through the flesh. Noah built this large, entire, giant ark and then put wording that who I am is sorry that I created mankind, but the ark already existed. It's the creation story. And then they turned it again at the beginning into a creation story, and at the end, a revelation. But all these are symbolic for what's happening. The Lamb is the first three. That's why he can go where he will with authority, just like Elijah, right? Who is like I am, Michael, Elia, why have you forsaken me? Because by the time Elijah came down and put those 12 minor prophets together, then people became fiery. Instead of understanding the name is supposed to go inside, and that's what each of these prophets are supposed to be talking about. But what people are doing is, just like how they create an image of hell, and now they have all these fears and they're bound, instead of being clearly led from the heart. But the heart has been corrupted because men over time want power, and so they build these images to constrict people and make them terrified and fearful. And so what I am doing is, I am not fear. Perfect love casts out fear, for fear causes torment, and torment is pain. If we are afraid, it is for fear of punishment, just like when kings punish their subjects. But I am is free. It's like an open source. It's a stream, but men are turning it into rivers. The reason I tell you to watch out for Noah. No, I don't think people are paying attention. The fear and dread is in their hearts, just like it's written it will be. From that book that people keep idolizing. I am no walking Torah or Bible. I am who I am. Those are a part of the universe. And when I make a part of the universe, that part can plague who I am, and I can lose sight of who I am because I gave that thing that doesn't walk, talk, see, or speak power over who I am. Just like the idea of hell, just like the idea of heaven if it's toxic. I hear people talking about reincarnation, but what do they do with these teachings? I'm not here on camera right now. I'm talking to you from an afterlife. This was my past life talking to you. And I've talked about Shutter Island and Vanilla Sky and The Matrix. There is dangerous stuff that gives rise from certain teachings. I am clarity. I am peace. I am guidance. I am love. But before love, I am. You have to say I am first to get to love. And so if days you're not feeling right, or if days you're going through things, that's the journey. If you only felt love all the time, I'm not throwing hate in the air, but I am bringing a balance. There are days I feel terrible, but the journey is getting back to the heart. So I may wake up super cranky and foul for a second, but it's like quick. Hey, look, you being rude to others. Hey, look, if they was talking to you like that, hey, look. And it's quick and it's guidance. It's not saying, oh, you're about to go to hell if you woo. But there are certain things that are dangerous, like certain things in nature, like lightning. So I'm not going to go outside with a pole and say, I'll rebuke the storms. Thou shalt not tempt who I am. But at the same time, if I just sit in the corner whenever I see a storm, then maybe I should start saying, I rebuke thee. I am the storm. But I am also clarity and clear skies. So let me calm down before I give rise to a beastly nature. Sometimes when the situation arises, who I am needs to be quick and like athletic and use certain power. But at the same time, what am I doing and how am I using it? Am I being merciful? Am I being violent? No. I am peace. I am mercy. I am clarity. I am guidance, and who I am is my friend. I am love, and who I am is a loving person. I am not the terms and conditions and teachings and ideas that this world has gathered and placed onto many people. I am who I am, and if anybody wants to argue about the body, then simply goodbye. If it's at your home, so people in my comments that attack and say certain things, if somebody were to start banging on your door and attacking you, you're going to either call the law, protect yourself, or get them out, right? Like, you're not going to just come onto my comments and make me seem foolish and weak. And then in the future, when some innocent person needs strength and guidance, see me on the comments going, oh, I don't know what to do. Help, 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 help. No, who I am is in the hearts, and I will not falter. You all read these stories talking about David said, no weapon shall prosper against me, and then think I will be scared. I am not feared, but not because I am a tyrant, because I am courage. I am not hard-headed, but the stone is rough to protect who I am. And so I may learn and be guided, but even if any of that causes me anxiety, whoa, I am not anxiety. So people like to talk about radio waves and frequencies a lot and stuff like that. But that just simply means changing the station. Perhaps moving to another side in the nation. A nation isn't always the planet or a continent. Sometimes it could be the room where you pay rent. I would like to help people in their journey for relaxation and comfort. You know what I mean? And resting in who I am and learning in who I am. And so that's why I tell people a lot of times you may see different memories and things from the past and different things or ideas or whatever. But like I tell people, the mind has an automatic nervous system. And so there may be times you just randomly get things. The mind may send you a dream or like a daydream or something. But if I let those dreams tear me up and guide me and take me to and fro, then I am forgetting that who I am is the one that even had the dream. And I am strong so that who I am can be courageous, but not in a way that I go hurt others and run out of the wilderness and tear people apart, but in a way that's helpful. So, Aaron, I've talked about Noah, and I'm telling you guys that what Noah is doing is he's putting destruction in people's hearts and they don't realize it. Noah is basically trying to affirm to you guys that Noah is basically putting slavery, fear and dread, burning up all the clean things. And there's different spots too where they're talking about different, because we're in a different level of society now. So this different wording where different holy men and fathers of people and stuff are dating family members, and that type of education in a holy book isn't profitable. But then when people put the testaments together, it's like, okay, the testaments are together, but the problem is they'll see that there's a new covenant, but they still go back to the old and covet after that over and over and over again. And it's like, I'm not telling people where they can read or where to go, you know what I mean? I am just basically telling you that with every vain word, it can get inside and cause who I am to be led astray in a way that's not of who I am. And so I'm just trying to give people their voices back. I am trying to give civilization life. I told you all, Aaron, outside of Noah, Noah, the son that told the truth, And I look at the sun's nations, Africa and all these other places, Africa split in half by Europe and the Arabic nations, Shem and Japheth. So I look up Japheth in these words and where they come from. It says Roman and Greek and German and Ashkenaz. Then I look up the word Ashkenazi. Like, this can't be, I don't understand if people are understanding what I'm telling you or not. People are covering the name to fight life. I don't understand. Like, so I'll go, I was listening to this guy's chat earlier. This guy, I think his name is Matt Dolvaney or something like that. And he's a hardcore atheist. And so before I could put anything about Aaron and the 613 commandments, what happened was I said, I am who I am sent me. So if somebody is saying that, that's no different than me saying, I am coming on behalf of my hearts. I am coming on behalf of Juan Bruce Jr. I'm coming on behalf of who I am. But if I say that, then people attack me. They say only the Lord Jesus, only Moses, only Yeshua, only you guys. Those are the Nephilim that keeps walking. And instead of using their words for wisdom, people are saying that they're gods. People are making them gods and they don't understand. So then I go even further. I'm like, okay, let me go into this book. Because it's hurting at first, because as I've told you, this has been a journey for me. And I am, as old as I am now, at 35, I am still learning. And so what I'm telling people is when I first started getting back into this stuff, it was like, oh my goodness, reading this stuff. These people are talking about murdering people and killing villages and hating one brother, and one's getting a blessing and the other one's cursed. And then that's when it started to click in my mind. That's why people hate each other. That's why people are covering all this stuff. Because it's literally a book taking something that's precious, the covenant of life, and then creating a bunch of religion around it. Aaron wrote 613 laws when he struck the stone. Those 613 laws are missing 3 laws. The ark, the first 3. If you add the first 3, which somebody removed, and then try to say it was the 10 commandments, that's 616. That's the mark of the beast. I found it. And then it's supposed to be the face, but then Aaron took it, and now Aaron's the face. But then you go even further. Who took and did any of this stuff? Babylon attacked Judah first, because Assyria had already consumed the top nations in Israel. So then Babylon came and attacked Judah and Benjamin or whatever. So then they have, now if you look at history, I don't have to prophecy, it lived out. The Babylonian Talmud, the Gomorrah, but then Sodom was all this other stuff and got licked up with fire. Like, come on, man. So then this is what the main prognosis of a lot of this Judaism stuff is happening. Then you go even further. Look, I left my servant Michael with Persia. So then Elijah was fighting Persia and the prophets of Baal and stuff. And if you look up with the different Jez-Ahab Bel, it'll, if you look what the syllables are saying, Jez-Ha-Bel, Jez-Ahab Bel, it's the whore that lusts for war, violence, and murder. So if Elijah was bringing the prophets together, and what are the prophets all saying? Be kind. Israel has transgressed. Don't kill. Don't steal. Where's my garden? Babylon is blah, 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 blah. Where's Zion? Are you guys understanding what I'm saying? So then you bring the 12 prophets together, and when you understand it properly, and then the 4 horsemen, the 4 rocks that are, come on, man. You guys are not so I am hoping people understand what I'm saying, and I don't need to strike the spirit. So what I'm saying is, then Michael, or who I call Elijah, came again, and people are, what happens? They take a hold of garment, Persia, and turns him into a fiery beast. The she-bears came out the wilderness and destroyed the children. Who else was destroying children? They turn the spirit into a monster. That's what they do each time. So then what am I saying? I'm here for freedom. I am here bringing the name. Because then a man named John the Baptist came. Again, trying to bear the name. And then what happens? People were attacking him, saying he's a liar and calling him a blasphemer. Well, who wrote about blasphemy? Noah, their father since the beginning. Because at first it was wisdom. Then people didn't listen and started playing, this is evil, this is good, this is evil, this is good. Then further, do you know who is helping Eve conceive these children? The Lord. Who is the Lord? Now each of you insert the name. I'm telling you what's happening. She goes, with the Lord's help, I can conceive a child. It's giving birth. So let us make mankind in our image. But this book was written by the Pope, the Anglo-Saxons, the Greeks, the Babylonians. I'm telling you, they're putting their different lores and stuff in gods. And maybe some people are aware, maybe some people aren't aware. And then they put it on top of the 10 Commandments each time. There was 4 beasts in Daniel and 4 nations attacked. Babylon, Persia, Greece, and Rome. Each of them had their own religion. Babylonian, Talmud, the Islamic nation now, right? And then the Greeks who came and became Pharisees, Pharisees. Where did the Greeks learn from? From the Egyptians. It's like all coming together, and I'm trying to help you guys. So then you look at the Rome, the dreadful beast, who Jehohanan ben Hagios, look up who was crucified, didn't attack, but started preaching love and peace and forgiveness. But then you're not King David, you're not Moses, you're not a powerful God. People bearing the name getting attacked. The name is life, it's existence. I am. No, you're not. No, you're not. So then I say, I'm trying to tell y'all what they're doing words. Look what I said. They turned the serpent into a dragon. From wisdom to everybody on the earth is evil. I'm going to flood everything and create a new ark. So then, if you transliterate Lucifer, you get F Uriel. Who is Uriel but the knowledge of wisdom and light? Who is the light? You guys are playing with lores and stuff, and a lot of you all are blameless and innocent because it's these preachers and prophets that like kingdoms. If you look at the Revelations, the Lamb is simply the 7 horns are the powers that the 10 Commandments, or the powers that the 7 Commandments bring, and the Lamb itself are the first 3, the Ark, the Spirit that hovered above the waters. The 7 angels are the 7 archangels, the 7 commandments on the covenant. He holds them in his hand. What was he preaching in the New Testament? Don't commit adultery. Don't steal. If you hate your brother, don't kill. You see what I'm saying? That's the 10 Commandments. Then Peter and Paul, if you read the books, they put fear and don't do evil and all this other stuff. And didn't accept certain people and told them not to be like the Gentiles and all this other stuff. Then because of the revelations, Titus and Barnabas came on them out. These people are supposed to put the 10 Commandments, but they're cleverly putting a bunch of stuff in between and confusing people. There's a bunch of spots where Paul says, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm confused. All these miracles are going to come down and start speaking tongues and da-da-da-da-da. You know what tongues is from? I'm telling you, that's not clarity. That's not clear. Because I speak a certain language. And if I go blah, 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 I don't know what I'm saying, and neither does anybody else. That's not the Father of truth. So then, Aaron wrote to kill again. Noah wrote to kill. Peter and Paul, real seductive. Speak like their father, but look like a lamb. Everybody loves Joshua, but they're missing that red word from the land. And then they wrote that John the Baptist hung himself in the field because he knew if he came before 3 days, he'd be killed. So really, I call it a sacrifice, but they infected everybody's head like lice. I am not the walking word or Torah. I am who I am. I'm the light, and I'm going to shine on the land. I'm going to give peace, mercy, love, and forgiveness and clarity. So if you want to fight that, go do what you do on the other side of the sea. Because what is common sense to him who is broke and afraid of the refinery and caught by the yoke? So I'm just trying to help people to the best of my ability. I'm trying to help people see. So I'll conceptualize the woman on the moon. The moon is the law of Moses without the murder and all that violence and stuff and everything else. But the law of Moses is the 10 Commandments. The 12 tribes is the 12 lights is the 12 tribes. But I can also conceptualize it's the 11 commandments because they put the first 2 together. And then thou shalt not rape was taken off because of Levi, to my understanding, because he was violent over a rape. So then it's the 12 lights. Interesting. So Moses was here, the Son, the Spirit of Moses, or Spirit of the lights, Son of Man, which is the 10 Commandments. Then the law that they stand on, the moon and the darkness, the 10 Commandments. Then the 12 tribes that follow, they're in that book. And then, you know what I'm saying? I would consider that Gabriel or Moses' kingdom. Then the baby was lifted up and Michael fought the prophets of Baal off the flesh, right? But then they turned it into a murderous, crazy thing. So then it was thrown down to the earth, and a third of the stars was knocked down. So what they end up doing? They end up taking the first 3 commandments off, just like they tried to do with Aaron's law to hide it, 613, LOL. So then what ends up happening is, well, they put on the 10 commandments, the Lord God. Then what do? The child of a God, Jesus Christ. That's some Baal Trinity stuff, or from the days of Nimrod. I'm telling you, if you look up these ancient stories, the 3 God Trinity stuff, when it's supposed to be the water, which is the words. What is our deep consciousness and all sorts of stuff? Words and stuff. The deep iceberg. Then you have the brain total, and then you have the consciousness, the person talking and all sorts of stuff that's being controlled by the brain. But the consciousness basically controls all this other stuff, while the brain does everything else automatically within the mind. And so the brain is baptized by different words, and then the spirit of who I am comes down, if that makes sense. Me. See, telling y'all, God and Jesus is I am who I am. So, then if you pay attention, you know, they broke it twice, Noah and Aaron. And then the false prophets are the people that are pretending to be sheep, but are missing the covenant and the red words, the son, if that makes sense. Because if you guys go off of Aaron's and Noah's part of the covenant, because first of all, them sending people to Noah, and they're talking about equality and anti-Semitism, but you'll send people to a book that tells them to enslave African nations and curse them and kill anybody that transgresses the law. Offer it up as a peace offering unto who I am, lest they call you anti-Semitic. So then you go even further. Then they try to bring Abraham around and say, Father Abraham and many sons. Melchizedek transliterates to Melech Zedek. That is the Jews of Melech. And I'm telling you, anybody that gets mad at the stuff I'm saying, I'm just giving information. Call me a blotch test. Your anger lives within, and you're mad at information and knowledge. Because I am telling you the truth to the best of my ability. Let their children be the judges, but they're still 2,000 years later, still following the law of Moses, acting silly. You guys, this isn't a joke anymore. So you guys will hear me go to certain spots and say, like, lying with mankind is abomination. I love women because I am a man. But I'm not finna go stone or rebuke or hate or even treat gay people any difference. They're humans too. I am is for all. But I'm not also going to go teach, go get your pom-poms and do. Am I making fun of people like that? No. I am the middle ground. I'm telling you all to be careful what you do in life, because it will be manifested by who I am. I see people on videos talking about a Maleficent Yahweh that makes men do this and that and Yahweh is I am who I am. So every man that did any of those things did it of their own accord. They touched the power line and then did it to themselves, to be judged later in history as murderers. So I am clarity, I am peace, I am love. I am probably about to bounce so I can finish smoking my pen. And I was writing a lot of, when I say I got the name, and because what I think, it seems like most people in history are like climbing up and up and up to grab the source. And so they're like up in the skies and they grab it. So they climb up to grab a power line. It seems like, disclaimer, do not grab power lines. The source is not physical power lines. And this is a metaphor or a representation or a parable of what happens when people touch the source, the name, and then play with it, like Shem and Japheth and Noah and other people. So what I'm saying is, and Solomon, that if you guys read Solomon, dude, I put eternity into the human heart. And I had slaves and did what I will with anybody. And I am giving the command, and you're going to enjoy your life while I'm super filthy rich and have 800 wives and not give a lick of the anything, and then say there's a time to do anything and say there's a time to kill. These different men are breaking the covenant, getting people to lust after family members and do all type of psychotic shit because they're not paying attention to the real holy ones. People are out here in the field being tore off because they're perpetuating a book and won't stop.
Before that book, I am. Any scientist that has a problem with what I just said, your mother and father, which is on the stone, honor thy father and mother. A woman has all her eggs from birth. So the beginning women from the beginning of time held all of humanity in their sacs, ovaries, and are still perpetuating the same life. Before everything that is in this house, this life and all the other life is, am, and was. These other things were built by us, was, is, and am, and will be. So every time you give it power over you, you're wasting your time. Therefore, my will. But every time people go super deep, now I'm in the cocoon. I'm in the I am. I'm super spiritual and manifest and blah, 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 blah. Your life is passing you by. Tick tock, tick tock. Life is beautiful on the outside and in. That book is teaching we're all devils and sin. It's teaching never learn from men while putting 1,000 of them in our heart to break the covenant from the start. Wake up. I am who I am. I am sent me. My name is not Jesus Christ. It's Juan Bruce Jr. Yehanan, like Yehohanan, John, seeks to help you and give you the name. But until mankind says, blessed is he that comes in the name of existence. Oh, back to the scientific point. And then after your parents took the genetic material from the father, which I like to call the spirit, the information that's written, and then the flesh, which comes from the mother, right? Then honor thy father and mother, which then they come together, and then you start doing meiosis and then mitosis before all concepts or ideas or anything that is ever known about. Then you start to grow and exist and learn from other man. And what is that other man in the books and stuff teaching? You have examples of how man turned wisdom into a mega dragon. The dragon is nothing more. The sword that was stick to the beast's head was John the Baptist. They tried to consume him. Michael was Elijah. He tried to bring the fire down, but they turned into violence. Moses was the beginning church, but somebody grabbed the woman, right, and tried to do tomfoolery. So, but then the flesh opened up for the woman, and then remember, at a lot of time, the sword came out of the head, and John the Baptist, there's a voice screaming from the wilderness. So, I'm telling you, it all comes together, man. And then the dragon itself, so twofold book. I say the dragon is Pharaoh, because if you pay attention in the Old Testament, it says, Pharaoh, the dragon, you made the rivers your own. Because Pharaoh took wisdom, kings took wisdom, and started putting crazy stuff in people's head to make them bow to them, to the God. So then over time, it manifests in punishments and rulers and kingdoms and psychotic men that turn into beasts and whatnot. So then you look at the 7 enemies in the Old Testament, right? But even further, the 7 heads are the 7 commandments that they used to kill over, to destroy over, to manipulate over, to lie over, to use as a magic law over. And then the 10 horns of power are the 10 commandments itself, because each of these books have the 10 commandments in them. With the dragon knocking a third of the stars from the sky is the same thing as the beast losing 3 horns and then becoming the one boastful horn. Thou shalt not put no gods before the Lord God. That's an English like that's like if you look up the word God, it means God means man of God. That doesn't. So what it sounds like they're saying is I am is a man of I am. You see what I'm saying? They're taking different words and symbols and covering existence. So then the beast and its 10 horns, the 10 horns of power, are the 10 commandments, and just like the dragon knocks the third out of the sky, they put their names on it. Well, then the beast, the man or whatever, whoever, takes them and starts speaking for them or whatever, but then they teach to kill for the laws. So that's why Noah is the dragon. Remember, he put a whole new covenant in the sky: kill for blasphemy, kill who kills, put fear and dread and all this other stuff, and flooded the earth, just like the dragon did, and became God. Then when Ham tried to expose this, they cursed him. And then look how that lives out. People use these words when we enslaved Africa. And then these different religions like Jehovah's Witnesses and stuff, they say that black people are like Nebuchadnezzar. Your skin turns black and it's a sin. Then you go into how this Nazi neo-fascism, where they're saying certain people are chosen races and chosen ones, which is Nazis. Racism. So then you go even further, right? Then look at how the false prophet from the flesh appears. Look at this. Two men, two horns of power, which manifested into Catholicism and Protestantism, both from Rome and Greece. Martin Luther resurrected theology. Theos was the Greek god in the Bible. If you look up the Greek flag and the Israeli flag, you will understand what I'm talking about. What are all these Jewish people doing? Sending people to Noah. What is Noah doing? Teaching people to kill, enslave Ham, and cover up the truth. And then the covenant is for them, but that's the ultimate freedom. So why you always see them rocking back and forth and connected to some network of happiness? Right. So then you go even further. The two that came out, I've read Peter, and the irony of Peter, look at completion. John has 3 books. Peter has 2. It's symbolic for the first three commands. So then you look at Paul, dude, he just went off the deep end. He just wrote all these letters, all this stuff, had all these Gentiles believing in Barnabas. If you look up where Barnabas comes up, it's a Greek god. Then he put all this word into all these different people, and supposedly Peter got crucified upside down. And Peter, to this day, 3 days later, Reuben, has denied the word, has been killing since the beginning. Since Moses has been here. Does that make sense? Or even since Jacob transgressed himself and named it. And then became Isis Rael. 3 Egyptian gods mixed together. Just like the Trinity. So, it's like a roadmap. You know what I'm saying? Think of me like the drinking gourd. So I'm not trying to have no problems, and I am not the terms and conditions of this world. I am not to prophecy against myself or others. So I am not here to destroy people, but these concepts that keep us enslaved. People will ask why I'm doing this, living my everyday life. Lord Jesus, God, Allah, Isa versus Jesus. We're all going to destroy you because the Lord is going to blah, 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 blah. You hear what they're saying, my child? Yeah, but what did I do when you was down below in that cavern and that little dream you was having, reading those red writings on the wall? Like, how am I going to get out? And that hand pulled you out. Okay, so exemplify what you did. You freed me and you helped me out. So I'm going to try to get these people to covenant, but you ultimately said at the beginning, which makes the most logic sense to me, not just because it's written, not to worry about good and evil, but live your life. Okay, so in living your life, you don't like seeing children being hurt, so help them out. Yeah, but children are to honor their father and mother, so ultimately I got to talk to these parents in order to even get to the children. Okay, but put yourself on camera, and then one day the children will grow up and see somebody with logic and understanding. It may not be now or then, but eventually, trust me with them. All right, so I'm just trying to help the best of my ability. As I've said before, it's like, this is a likening thing. So before magic and carpets and all this other foolishness, I am. If I take a part of the universe and say, multiverses and Rick and Morty and computers and ones and zeros and da-da-da-da, because before all that, I am. And if that is the case, then whoever did that is that as well. And I've talked about the fractal paradox on many of my videos. Because if I am, and that's the source, and everybody has it at whatever realm they're at or level of whatever, then that means I'm tapped in. I hope you understand what that means. And as far as Elohim and all these other, do not let other men imprint their lives on you in a way where you lose who I am.